So the first thing that we're going to talk about in terms of what makes a high probability setup, before we get into technicals, it's important to understand the fundamentals. We need to understand that orb works really, really well with indices when there is a bunch of volume in the market, and the best way to know when there's volume in the market is by looking at the FX calendar, right? So this was recent. This was Friday, September 5th. We had a really, really nice trade. Whenever we have red folder news events, specifically at 8:30 a.m. East. That is 1 hour before we can start trading. That is the most ideal time, right? That's injecting volume in the market. So that is right here. We know we can trade when there is 8:30 a.m. news. Now, be cautious when there is news at, say, 10 a.m. Eastern. It may be smart, right, to wait until after this news release. And we'll go over Wednesday here shortly. But first, the first thing I want to talk about is 8:30 a.m. East news. This is what's going to inject. So inject volume into the market. Now, as long as there is no other news event, red folder, I want to say between 9:30, 10:30 a.m. East, you are in the clear, meaning there is a lot of volume to trade within the market. Now, how do we now utilize this candle? Right, let this pop up here. Let me go ahead and just minimize these notes real quick. Essentially, now that we have our news low or our news candle right here, right, what we want to go ahead and do is mark out the high of that candle and the low of that candle. As you can see, the high has already been liquidated. What you will find is after an 8:30 a.m. news release, a lot of the time these news lows get taken out, right? It's creating a magnetic effect with price, right? So we can understand that this it might be able to extend our target from this short here that the indicator was able to give us, right? It gave us a short. We ran 1 to 1.5. We actually would have ran on this trade specifically just a little bit more, a little bit over 1 to 2, right? And as you can see, we completely wiped out the news, and this trade just ran over 1 to 5, which is unbelievable, right? So that is the really the key way of how to utilize the 8:30 a.m. news event. Um, but yeah, that's the first thing, 8:30 a.m. news.